reduce this anxiety. Begin by taking several slow, deep breaths before speaking. Relax your shoulders, neck, and any tight muscles. Greet your listeners as they come into the room. And as you start talking, smile and make eye contact with some members of the group. And speak conversationally. Don't try to force your voice to sound like a formal announcer.
And I want all of you to know, this company is going to make the coming year the greatest year in our history. We can make it happen, and we will make it happen. Let's move ahead.
This woman is so unnatural that she's hard to believe. A relaxed, natural version works much better.
What I'd really like to do is get off to a quick start next year. Everything I'm seeing in the market tells me we can really have a good year. So let's do it. Let's have a fantastic year.
Not only does this more natural presentation come off better, but it also makes the speaker feel more relaxed.
And one of the ways to stay relaxed is to begin your presentation powerfully with no mistakes or problems. And that's our 17th action tip. Use beginnings to create expectations and introduce your message. A good beginning serves three purposes. First, it gets the listener's attention. Second, it tells them the theme of your presentation. And third, it lets them know you have some expertise in that area. Let's look at a good beginning.
I've been asked to explain the new sales commission program. We think it's an outstanding program. It'll give all of you the chance to make more commission each month. The key here is to push the big ticket items. If you can do that, we all stand to profit.
Right off the bat, she grabbed their attention by mentioning the new commission program and emphasizing that it could make them more money. Include something powerful like this in your beginning. You may also want to include statistics that will reinforce your message, quotations or stories that will give it a personal feel, or possibly rhetorical questions. These are thought-provoking questions not meant to be answered.
Just how much more interference can our department take? When will they finally get off our backs? And why us? What did we do wrong? And how many more good people we have to lose?
Sometimes a series of rhetorical questions like these can be effective. Another good technique is to include audience participation in your open. Maybe pop a few quick questions at them, or give them a quiz, or even play a game. Anything to get the presentation moving. No matter what you do, however, avoid basic, dull beginnings. If your beginnings are interesting and compelling, you'll grab the listener's attention.
Let's move on now to the rest of your presentation and focus on action tip 18. Deliver messages like a pro. A lot of factors go into making you look professional. We'll begin with appearance. Your dress and grooming should be appropriate to the occasion. You don't want anything that is so extreme that it distracts from your message. You'll also want to use some gestures and body movement. Now, most people do this when they talk. It's just natural and comfortable. It also projects a feeling of enthusiasm and spontaneity and helps you emphasize important points. Now, the key is don't force your gestures or use the same ones over and over. If you do, they may come off as forced or contrived.
This inventory has got to be done by next Friday, and if it isn't, we're going to have a big problem on our hands, and I, for one, don't want to deal with that.
Don't do this. Just be natural. Be yourself. And if that means moving around the room when you speak, well, by all means, do it. This can be very effective during pauses between key points. Now, there may also be times when you want to walk toward the audience to emphasize a point. Again, no problem, as long as it's not overused. Let's talk now about eye contact and facial expression. It's vital to make eye contact with your listeners. Not an extended piercing look, but something long enough to seem natural. People who don't make eye contact often make others feel uncomfortable. As far as facial expression, again, what's natural is usually best. But whenever possible, try to smile and be upbeat. People like enthusiasm. And finally, Be aware of your voice cues. You want to avoid monotones, bombastic or rapid-fire deliveries, or breathy, whiny voices. Sometimes we're sounding like this and we don't even know it. Tape your presentations to find out just how you're coming across. By doing this, you can make a lot of improvement quickly.
As we've seen, a lot of things go into a strong presentation, but sometimes we can get too focused on these and forget the main purpose. Action tip 19 tells us to be idea conscious and not self-conscious. That means when you make your presentation, focus on the message you're trying to convey. During your presentation, you can't be thinking too much about the details we've just mentioned, like appearance, mannerisms, voice quality, and gestures. These need to become almost instinctive. And that happens through practice. If you practice them, they'll eventually kick in automatically through what's called an unconscious success mechanism. It's like when an outfielder in baseball catches a fly ball. He doesn't think, I'll take 6 steps to my left and 2 steps forward, raise my glove with my left hand, and shield my eyes with my right hand. No. Instead, he fixes his eyes on the ball and visualizes the desired result of catching it. He can do this because he's caught thousands of fly balls before. The same thing applies to your presentation skills. If you keep practicing them, they'll become natural. This will allow you to concentrate on the main goal, the content of your message.
And for some people, that content is often organized in notes. But as action tip 20 tells us, that can be dangerous. We can overuse our notes.
Regarding our new parking policy, we will from now on use blue, green, red, and aqua parking passes. These will each be magnetically coded, and they will be manually inserted into the card receptacle. This will ensure optimum reliability.
That just doesn't work. The man is making almost no eye contact. He's reading dull, stiff, pre-written notes with no life and no enthusiasm. Now, let's look at the same information presented naturally with limited use of notes.
What we're trying to do is start a new policy that will get us in and out of these lots a little better. I know those automatic gates haven't always been working, so we're going to try new color-coded passes. They have one of these new magnetic strips on them, and I know they're going to work. I'm sorry for all the problems, but I know this will get the job done.
Now, he's just talking. He's making eye contact. He's acting like he cares. Use as little pre-written text or notes as possible. Obviously, in some cases, you may feel a need to convey something precisely or possibly have a written record of your comments. Then it makes sense to pre-write these comments. But in all other cases, maybe put just a few keywords on note cards or have a brief outline to remind you of what you want to say. If you've prepared and know your subject, that's all you'll need.
Something else to avoid is ineffective language.
Relax your shoulders, neck, and any tight muscles. Greet your listeners as they come into the room. And as you start talking, smile and make eye contact with some members of the group. And speak conversationally. Don't try to